Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Tuesday, May 2nd. We got round 2 of the NHL playoffs starting here tonight, where we got ourselves a 2-game slate. I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks here for today, go through a couple of my favorite individual plays, as well as some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We got the Panthers at Maple Leafs coming in at 6.5 goals, Kraken at Stars coming in at 5.5, and then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see the Stars and Maple Leafs are favored to win here tonight. And then here's the schedule update for this week. Gonna have an NHL DFS video coming out for you guys Tuesday through Friday of this week, breaking down each of those 2-game NHL slates, and then Mulligan Masters Episode 3 is set to release on Sunday, so make sure you stay tuned for that. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight. Now, being that these are just 2-game slates here in round 2 of the NHL playoffs, a lot of my videos are probably going to sound repetitive. I don't want it to be that way, but ultimately I'm probably going to have very similar strategies throughout these games. So bear with me over the next 2 weeks here. These videos are probably going to sound very similar in a lot of ways. But with that being said, one of the line stacks that I do like here tonight is that first line for the Dallas Stars. We got Roope Hintz centering Jason Robertson and Tyler Seguin. Now this line here pretty much carried the Stars through the first round when it came to getting on the score sheet. They combined for 11 goals, 14 assists, 25 points in 6 games, accounting for 52% of the goals scored by the Dallas Stars in round 1. Now, being that Joe Pavelski is expected back here tonight, you're going to see Tyler Seguin get bumped down to the number 2 power play, and Hintz and Robertson play up on the number 1 power play. Honestly, if you wanted to replace Seguin here with Pavelski and target that number 1 power play, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I built a lineup last night where I did exactly that, basically targeted that number 1 power play and removed Seguin from this line stack. And then a cheaper line stack that I like here tonight was that third line for the Seattle Kraken. Other side of this game between the Stars and Kraken, we got Gord centering Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand. I like the way they played in round 1. They combined for 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points in 7 games. So not getting on the score sheet at a ridiculous rate, but all 3 of these guys did rank within the top 5 on this Kraken team in expected goals in round 1. So that really stuck out to me, and I really love the correlation between these 3 as well, all playing on the number 2 power play. Now folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Don't forget, I am running that Discord channel as well. We got a great group of people in there talking hockey, talking prize picks, and really starting to talk some other sports as well. MLB's been a little hotter here as of late. If you want to join that Discord, there's a link to do so in the description below. And if you haven't already, make sure you go check out my video here where I break down my lineup where I turned $60 into over $13,000. Alright, now diving into some of my favorite individual plays here. We're going to kick it off with the forwards, and you notice I pretty much just highlighted this game here between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers, and that's largely because I'm targeting the power play units in this series here, at least to start the series. I have no problem targeting that number 2 power play for Toronto. I'm actually going to talk about that later when we get to Matthew Knies as a low-priced option. But for the most part, I want to get exposure to their number 1 power play, really target their big 3 forwards in Matthews, Marner, and Tavares, and pair them up with Morgan Rielly. I have no problem playing Ryan O'Reilly either, who also plays on the number 1 power play, but again, really want to get exposure here to the big 3 forwards. This Toronto Maple Leafs power play was good in round 1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, scoring at a 29% rate, but what I was even more interested in is how many penalties the Panthers took against Boston. Led round 1 with 32 penalties, and that's not rare for them. They led the entire regular season in minor penalties as well, and their penalty kill was not very good in round 1, hitting at just a 59.3% rate against the Boston Bruins. So again, I certainly don't mind the number 2 power play unit for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, but largely want to be targeting their number 1 power play unit. And then I went with the 2 Sams here on the Florida side of things, Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart. Now, they do play on separate lines 5-on-5. Bennett plays on the second line with Tkachuk. Reinhart plays on the third line with Lundell and Luosterainen, but ultimately targeting them on the number 1 power play too. I really like the 3-man stack here of Reinhart, Bennett, and Brandon Montour. Very affordable considering the upside they offer. Now, if we look at round 1 here, the Florida Panthers scored on the power play at a 25% rate. But the reason I really kind of chose Bennett and Reinhart here is not only because they're very affordable, but they rank 2nd and 3rd on the team in expected goals in round 1 too, and 2 guys who can definitely have a multiple point night, hit 4-5x value at their current prices. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, and with these 4 guys here, really just targeting them on their team's number 1 power play. Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars, Brandon Montour of the Florida Panthers, Morgan Riley of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Justin Schultz of the Seattle Kraken, but I do got some honorable mentions there as well, and I think these guys are solid one-off plays, but you could also target them on the number 2 power play. For example, Giordano that I mentioned earlier for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I got Forsling there of the Panthers, Oleksiak of the Kraken, Giordano there of the Maple Leafs, and Brody of the Maple Leafs as well, who actually had some really solid DraftKings performances in round 1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then when it comes to the goaltenders here, I put 2 on the spreadsheet, the 2 in this game between the Kraken and Stars with Jake Ottinger and Philip Grubauer. But look, everyone, we got 4 goalies to choose from. Basically, the way I structure my lineups is making sure that my goaltender doesn't have negative correlation with the forwards and defensemen. Sure, you can certainly get a little creative with that. For example, if you think that the Dallas Stars are going to have 50 shots on net here tonight and still want to play Philip Grubauer, that's a situation that could make sense on a 2-game slate like this. But for the most part, that doesn't happen all that often. So if I'm playing Jake Ottinger here tonight, then no, I probably don't want to play the Seattle Kraken, and vice versa. If I'm playing Grubauer, probably don't want to play a lot of the Dallas Stars in that lineup. But ultimately, 4 goaltenders on this slate. I'm not discounting any one of them, but I do like this game here between the Stars and Kraken. Probably going to be the general consensus with an implied total of 5.5. But I also think it's worth mentioning how good these 2 were in round 1, where Ottinger actually ranked 2nd in both wins above replacement and goals save above expected. Grubauer wasn't far off from that either, ranking 4th in both of those categories. So again, I understand both these 2 will probably be the popular targets here tonight, but I'm not discounting any one of the 4 goaltenders available to us. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Mason Marchment of the Dallas Stars, who plays on the 3rd line in number 2 power play. Started round 1 against the Minnesota Wild pretty slow, but started to find his game towards the end of that series, putting up 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points in his last 2 games. Definitely someone who can hit 3, 4, 5x value at his current price. Next is Anton Lundell of the Florida Panthers. He also plays on that 3rd line in number 2 power play, and he also started to find his game towards the end of that series in round 1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, where he put up 4 assists in his last 2 games. And then Matthew Knies there of the Toronto Maple Leafs, playing on that first line right now with Matthews and Nylander, and also playing on the number 2 power play. And as I mentioned earlier, I certainly don't even mind targeting that number 2 power play for the Maple Leafs here tonight, considering how many penalties the Florida Panthers take. Plus, you get a little correlation with him and Nylander on that first line, and then you mix in Giordano from the blue line, who logs solid minutes and is very affordable at $3,500. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys, but 2 things right off the bat here. Number 1, being that we have just 2 game slates here in round 2, I'm not going to force any prize picks. These lines are going to be very accurate. But number 2, again, I have that Discord channel. If you want to join it, there's a link to do so in the description below. While the prize picks on the NHL side of things might be getting tight here as the playoffs progress, we got a great group of people in there posting their prize picks from multiple different sports. So it's a very active Discord. Like I said, a great group of people in there talking hockey, talking prize picks, and talking multiple other sports. If you want to join it, link to do so in the description below. With that being said, I'll do my normal process here today, go through these picks, do my research, and let you know my final picks if I have any. in a comment below on this video. I'll be sure to pin that comment as well and post those in my Discord channel. And for those of you who have not signed up for Prizepicks yet, don't feel like you need to get in just for the NHL picks. You can play any one of these sports listed above. And if you are going to sign up, make sure you take advantage of my promo code, which is GRIFF. GRIFF. If you use that, Prizepicks is going to give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. You don't have to put $100 in either. If you want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. Again, they'll match anything up to $100 as long as you use my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 2-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.